Namami buddham gunasagarantam sattha sada hontu sukhi averam Khayo jiguncho sakalo dugandho Gacchanti sambe maranam ahanca Samanta cakkavalesu atra gacchantu devatam Sandhammang munirajassa Sunantu sagga mokkadam Dhammasavana kalo ayam badanta Dhammasavana kalo ayam badanta Dhammasavana kalo ayam badanta Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Susukang vata jivama aturesu anaturati Homage to the exalted one, the worthy one, the perfectly enlightened one. Dear friends in the Dhamma, now we are going to discuss about the stress management in Buddhism. That is the very important thing. Most of people in the world are interested in learning stress management. Therefore, if we can study the doctrines that Buddhism says about stress management, it is very important in our day-to-day life, because this is one of the major problems in the society, especially in the Western society. What is the meaning of stress?
Worry.
Yes, worry. What else? Unsatisfactoriness, phobia, or there are some kind of mental illnesses. We can say hysteria, phobia, anxiety. Everything starts with stress. That is the first thing. And when we see some kind of physical illnesses like cancer, some doctors have said that the main problem is stress. At the very beginning, some people have been suffering with stress for a long time, when finally they become some illnesses like cancers. Especially psychiatrists have been doing some kind of experiments how to stress management. Then especially they get some information from Buddhism. That is very important. They do some researches using some Buddhist doctrines. Here, therefore, as Buddhists, especially as Buddhist followers, if we can understand stress management, what Buddhism says, that is very useful for our deliverance path, liberation path. Especially, Buddha said one day, we can see some people who are healthy physically for a long time, but it is very difficult to find a person who is healthy mentally. Especially, except spiritual persons, all people have some kind of stress in their mind. What is the reason? Reason is defilements. More defilements, more stress, more suffering. Less defilements, less stress, less suffering. Then when we discuss some kind of defilements in Buddhism, there are some kind of levels, steps that we can see in Buddhism. Finally, all defilements are divided into 1,500. But in short, we can see everything in 3 defilements, as we usually discuss: Lobha, Dvesa, Moha. Lobha means anger. Lobha means desire, attachment, lust, or craving. And Dosa means anger or ill will. And also Moha or Avidya, delusion or ignorance. When we discuss these 3 defilements, Lobha, Dosa, and Moha, these both things are together. These 2 things are together. It is like the both sides of same coin. As much as we have lust, craving or desire, attachment, then we have dosa or anger. It is like the both sides in the same coin. If we throw lobha, automatically we throw out dosa too. And what is the foundation of both of them? Moha. Moha or ignorance or delusion. That is the foundation. If somebody can give up completely moha or ignorance, then automatically all defilements go away. We can reduce lobha, desire and anger for a long time. It's not difficult, but a special thing when we discuss Buddhism, the ignorance. There were some ascetic people when Buddha came to the world who had to reduce their anger and lust completely for a long time. But they didn't know about ignorance. They think everything is impermanent, but there is a permanent thing which is soul or ego. They did everything with the foundation of egoism. They believe there is a certain thing which cannot be destroyed, is self or ego. But the interesting thing, when we discuss Buddhism, Buddhism explains that how we overcome not only lobha and dosa, desire and anger, but delusion too. That is very important thing. As we mentioned before, first of all, little by little, we have to overcome these defilements. When we discuss Buddhism, as we mentioned before, we have to develop our quality in these areas. One of them is practicing loving kindness. On the other side, for the liberation that Buddha has explained, for the liberation, in one side we have to overcome anger. That is why we practice loving kindness. On the other side, as much as we can give up anger, we can overcome desire too. On the other side, we have to overcome delusion. For decreasing delusion, we have to practice wisdom. When we practice loving kindness, we practice not only loving kindness, we practice sympathetic joy, mudita, and compassion, and also equanimity. Those 4 things are together, Satara Brahma Viharana. Those are the 4 sublime states that Brahma lives. Brahma is living with these 4 qualities. Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekha. Loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. Loving kindness is opposite of anger. Compassion is opposite of when we see some people are suffering, when our enemies are suffering, we are happy. Then that misunderstanding can be overcome by practicing loving kindness, because we have compassion. We have a warm heart. When other people are suffering, we are ready to help them. We have an effort to overcome their suffering. And also, we overcome jealousy. By practicing loving kindness, we have sympathetic joy. It means other people are successful. We are happy. We bless them. When we are successful, we are happy like our children are successful. That is the nature of the loving kindness. And also equanimity, we have balanced mind among good and bad, happiness and worry, gain and loss, honor and dishonor. If we can make a balanced mind by practicing loving kindness, that is one of the signs that we have overcome stress. Then here, by practicing wisdom, we practice wisdom in some kind of levels. At the very beginning, we practice wisdom as the karmic law. As much as we listen to what Buddha taught, we are knowledgeable about the karmic law. Buddha said, Kamma sakomi, kamma dayado, kamma bandhu. Kamma is our dowry. That is our treasure. That is our relative. That is our beginner. We are made of karma. We should reflect on the karmic law again and again. Buddha said, Paccavekka tabbang. We should always reflect on the nature of the karmic law. Not only understanding karmic law, but we should have an ability to overcome evils and practice good deeds. As much as we are knowledgeable about the karmic law, we always try to practice 3 meritorious deeds as much as we can. Dana, Sila, Bhavana. Dana means practicing generosity. Sila means practicing morality. And Bhavana means mental culture, practicing meditation. With the knowledge of karmic law. That is the very first level in wisdom in Buddhism. Here, by practicing 3 meritorious deeds, Buddhism has explained the path of heaven, the heavenly path. That is the first advice in Buddhism. Buddha wanted to point out the way how to overcome hell. How we have a good guarantee to go to heaven or come back to the human world. That is the first advice that we can see in Buddhism. We should have visa at the very beginning to go to heaven or come back to the human world, not to go to the lower levels, lower realms, like hell. And also, not only Buddha has explained the heavenly path, but Buddha explained the deliverance path, liberation path, enlightenment, how we overcome suffering completely. In certain level, in first level karmic law, the second level Buddha has explained the dependent origination. That is the very important thing. In first level, it is enough having knowledge the karmic law. But, most of people have understood. Buddhism has explained only the first level. They practice only 3 merits only. But practicing the 3 merits can be seen in other religions too. Sometimes, even though some people don't believe any religion, they also practice these merits for the success of this birth, for the happiness of this birth, for the decoration of their mind. They practice 3 merits. They take care of their parents, they help other innocent people, they have a good virtuous life, they don't do any misbehavior. They have a good discipline in their speech and behavior. And also sometimes they meditate. Even though they believe any God or any religious teacher. But some people, in the name of Buddhism, they have understood only practicing 3 merits with the knowledge of karmic law. But we should be intelligent that what is the second level of wisdom, which is dependent origination. That is the ultimate solution for the getting rid of suffering. Buddha pointed out when we discuss stress, we think some people are stressed when they have some exams, when they have little babies, when they have busy life, when they have no jobs, they are stressed. But Buddhism has pointed out the biggest challenges in our life. For example, when our close relative dies, what happens to us? Sometimes we have failed some exam. While we are suffering about failing exam, we have a news that our close relatives, sometimes our younger brother or sister or child, may die. What is the biggest problem? That failing exam or lost that person? That is the biggest problem. That is why Buddhism pointed out what are the main challenges that we have in front of us. Now we may think that we have a lot of problems. Actually, these are not the biggest problems. The major problems that we can have in our life, that losing some of our close relatives and friends, and also some dangerous illnesses such as cancer, and also sometimes we face some fatal accident. We are close to die. Then those are the biggest problems in our life. But Buddhism very clearly pointed out 3 major challenges in our life. I think you can remember. The first one is aging. Aging is one of the biggest problems. Although we are sick, we can be recovered. But how about aging? When we go to old age, never come back. When we have lost something, we can earn them again. But our past life doesn't come back. Our past period doesn't come back. That is the problem. The second one is death. When we die, we have to give up everything, not only external things, but that we have our physical body. That also can have been to give up. And actually, most of people in the world, they also have understood these are the problems, but among them, that's another very biggest problem, rebirth. Rebirth and when we reborn, it is possible to go to down level, lower realms like hell realms. That is the worst problem which we have in front of our life. For that, in the first level, Buddha has recommended how we overcome this challenge. That is the very first thing, first challenge that we should have overcome. While we are studying, while we are doing something, while we are doing our duties and responsibilities in our day-to-day life, we should have real guarantee that we never go to lower realms. Not only we, but we should have give some kind of guidance to our close relatives. When our close relatives die, actually their death is not the biggest problem. Yes, if they go to the down levels, lower realms, that is the biggest problem. Therefore, as compassionate people, we should have some kind of advice that we can give for them. When we do some good deeds, even though they don't believe karmic law, we can call them and we can bring them to our meritorious activities. And also, how we overcome these problems. About 3 problems we can overcome in this level, understanding of the dependent origination. Actually, we feel our aging. We feel the suffering of our death when we think about our past. We always compare our life. Now I am 40 or 45. Before 5 years ago, I was 30 or 35. Now I am old. We compare. Because when we compare our life with past experience, our mind goes to the past and our mind lives in the past experience. That is why we think aging. When we have some kind of news that our close relative is dead, then our mind goes to the past. And when that dead person was living, what did for us, we think about that. When our mom dies, we think, my mom helped me like this, my mom fed me. We think about that experience. Then we can cry as we like if we think in this way with ignorance. But if we are clever to keep our mind in the present moment with mindfulness, we can remember our mom's whole experience without suffering, without fear. That is the important thing. That is why Buddhism has pointed out how we overcome suffering with the knowledge of the dependent origination. Dependent origination is the theory how suffering arises and also how suffering reduces. This is the theory, Arya Nyaya, the theory of enlightened persons. We have no guidance to practice here. This is only theory. When we know this theory, we have to practice 3 disciplines, 8-fold path, and reflecting on impermanence of 5 aggregates. Those are the paths. This is the theory. First of all, we should be knowledgeable about the path, about the theory. Then, how suffering arises? As we mentioned before, our whole life is our senses. How we experience about the world? By seeing something through our eyes, by hearing something through our ears, by smelling something through our nose. These are the senses which brings us experience. Then our eye, ear, nose, those are the tongue and body, mind, and also forms, sounds, smells, and taste, touching, mental objects. Then this is our world. This is the world that we experience. All of these things are arising at the moment. These are not permanent. When our eye is open, then forms are visible. Then our consciousness is visible. All things are together suddenly. Then on the other side, five aggregates arise. Through any sense, the nature of our life or experience is arising five aggregates. This physical eye can be seen from our birth to death. But this eye that Buddhism explains arises when forms are visible, when our consciousness is visible. Now you are hearing me. Actually, in this moment, a lot of vehicles going here and there. Sound is there, but because of no attention, we don't experience. When we have attention, now we can hear. When you hear that thing, you don't hear my voice. But because of past of our mind, we think that all of them are together. But everything is separated. Everything is different. However, everything is visible at the moment. Then suddenly five aggregates. What are the five aggregates? Rupa, forms, Vedana, feelings, Sanya, perception, or Sankhara, mental formations, Vijnana, consciousness. These five things quickly, suddenly arise. Not only arising, but immediately it ceased. Then if we have full attention, reflection on this reality, at that moment we have overcome suffering completely. When we think about this reality, we don't feel our mom's disease. We don't feel even our physical body feelings. We don't feel our children or anybody. When we think our children, we can remember them, we can think about them. But finally we think the five aggregates. We can see this flower, but with this understanding, as soon as we look at these flowers, we think this is five aggregates. Through five aggregates, we experience flowers. And finally, we have only five aggregates. For example, when we see something, our mom's picture, we have our mom's picture here. Then we can hear something, our mother's some voice. At the moment we have some clothes, some clothes which our mom used. And there are something in the plate which our mother or father prepared. At the moment, my mom is near with me. When I look at this picture, I think this is my mom. When I hear this cassette recorder, I think my mom is calling, speaking. When I feel this food, I think this is prepared by my mom. Then when I feel this clothes, when I wear this clothes, I think this is my mom's. When I near with my mom, I say this is my mom. This is my mom, this is my mom, this is my mom, this is my mom. Who is the real mom? One person should not be in several places in the same time.
But you're experiencing the same experience.
What you have created in your mind as you know.
Actually, finally, we have only 5 aggregates.
Oh.
5 aggregates is the experience. These are not the things. As I mentioned before, although we say this is powers, actually finally the ultimate truth is 5 aggregates. There is a very interesting thing. We should not think that this 5 aggregate is different from me. When I think at the moment about this power, this is my entire life. If we think I am here, these 5 aggregates is there, be sure still I am in the circle of the samsara. I have a soul, permanent soul. I think this. I am different. This is different. We should be intelligent to understand. When I think this power, this 5 aggregates is completely my life. This is here, I have no life. This is my life completely. When I think my mom is my complete world, entire world. When I think my children, my son or daughter, then that is my entire world. It is not separate from my life. That is why, at some times, when we die here, think in my mom or my house or my land, according to my attachment, my ignorance, be sure I will be there. As soon as I remove my physical body, I will be reborn there. If I think there is something outside, I am ready to go back. I am ready to become there. That is the becoming power. If you are intelligent to reflect on, as soon as I remember, I think, I hear, I smell, I taste, any time if you are knowledgeable to understand, this is my world, this is 5 aggregates, these 5 aggregates arise at the moment and completely it ceases at the moment. That is our life if we are clever to understand. At that moment we have overcome suffering. Not only we have overcome suffering, if we die at the moment, as soon as we die, we have ended the entire journey in the samsara.
I think the problem is, so that's a pleasant example, but I think the problem is on the second aggregate, the feelings. When you think something, a bad experience, and then when you think about it, you try to understand that it's not permanent, it was in the past, but if it made you feel bad, let's say kids, they were abused, or you had an accident when you were a kid, when you think that, when it's a bad experience, I think it's harder for you to detach from the experience and then say, I'm reading my mind, because the experience was very traumatic.
Actually, 5 aggregates are together. They cannot be separated. They cannot be changed. We reflect on those 5 things in our intelligence for our understanding. If we have clear understanding about the feeling as impermanent, then in that knowledge of impermanence, we have no any suffering. Now we think as thinking as certain. That is why we feel bad suffering. If we can reflect on these 5 things as impermanent, in that knowledge we have no suffering, no happiness. Then we are neutral. Now we have attachment because of no real living in the knowledge of impermanence. For example, if you listen in this sound, you have no any attachment, good or bad. Why is it? You know, very quickly this sound arises and ceases. You have nothing to catch, so you don't have to get angry because of quick understanding. Then our experience also like that. When you think your mom, even though she is sick, actually in that moment you don't feel suffering of sickness. You have go through those sickness to 5 aggregates. When I put my mind in flowers, I am unhappy when flowers go down. Now through flowers I go to the 5 aggregates, other way. Then I can experience flowers as well as 5 aggregates.
The problem is not seeing or hearing or touching, but thinking that it's permanent, right?
Yes. Through these things, through my real mother, we go to the 5 aggregates. Our mind is here, not here. We don't keep our mind here.
I'd like to maybe explain that. It kind of clicks on you.
We can experience our mom. Now I taking care of my mom. While I am taking care of my mom, my mind is here. Above in 5 aggregates, seen, reflecting on impermanence. It means I don't think I am here, 5 aggregates here. In this thing, in this 5 aggregates, my whole life is here. If I think I am here, 5 aggregates here, then I have remained something which is soul or ego. It is also a misconception. When we think something, we should be knowledgeable, that is my entire life. When I think this in here, my entire life is in this experience. It doesn't mean that my mind is keep it inside. If my mind keep inside, I have some attachment. I don't have attachment when I have experience about the impermanence. Then this is the first understanding that we should gain through a good association. Kalyana Mittasa. This is like having the address to where we are going to. It is not just enough for the journey, but then we have a path. This is the address, but what is the path? Path is the 3 disciplines, Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Virtue, concentration, and wisdom. Again and again, I reflect on this impermanence. If my mind is very complex, I concentrate my mind in a particular wholesome object, such as breathing meditation, loving kindness meditation, the contemplating on death, the contemplating of virtues of the Buddha. These are the meditation techniques that we can use to concentrate our mind when we are going to overcome complexion or some problems in our mind. The nature of our mind is like, monkey mind. It goes here and there. For the safety of mind, first we try to concentrate our mind by using some meditation techniques. And also, it is difficult to do, then we should have another thing, that virtue or discipline in our speech and behavior. We use our speech, words very carefully. We should have good discipline in our behavior. On the other side, if it is difficult to control our body and speech, then we should have another thing, which is the discipline in senses, indriya samvara. When we see something, when we hear something, when we taste something, smell something, we should have discipline. There are some people, as soon as they see something to eat, they run there. When they hear something, some song or something, they run there. They have no inner peace. That is why, before virtue or sila, we should have discipline in our senses. And sensual discipline. Sensual discipline, that is also very important. On the other side, we can develop some kind of qualities like always Dhamma discussion, associating good friends, and also the discipline in food, bhojana mattanyutatawa, discipline in food, and also we sleep, we control our sleeping too. There are some other kind of qualities too that we practice. However, then we discuss, first of all, for the stress management, we were discussing about stress management. A lot of psychiatrists have recommended to practice loving kindness and mindfulness for stress management. What is the reason? Most of people in the world, they suffer because of anger. If we are clever to overcome anger, we can overcome more than 50% stress in our mind. There are a lot of problems in the society. There are a lot of cases in the court. The main reason, anger. Then, if we are clever to overcome anger little by little, then we can overcome suffering or stress. Now, in the current society, psychiatrists are recommended to practice loving kindness for stress management. Before many years, Buddha has explained to practice loving kindness. Yantam santam padang abhisamecca. If somebody wants to become the inner peace, should practice loving kindness according to Metta Sutta. Yam santa padaya kamatinam. If you like some kind of inner peace, should have to practice loving kindness. On the other side, in the main discourse of Satipatthana, Mahasatipatthana Sutta, the great fourfold mindfulness discourse, Soka pariddavanam samatikkamaya, dukkha domanassanam atthangamaya, nyaya sadhigamaya, nibbanasa satikiriyaya, yadidan sattaro satipatthana. For the liberation, for the stress management, for the enlightenment, for the getting rid of suffering, I recommend only one, which is practicing mindfulness. Now psychiatrists recommend to practice mindfulness. Before 2,600 years ago, Buddha explained everything.
And I think the reason, I don't know where I read it, I don't remember, but they said like stress, they say it's a worry about the present. And depression is a worry about the past, and anxiety is a worry about the future. But when you have mindfulness, you don't have no worry because you're not thinking, you're not focusing on anything, you're just thinking the present.
Yeah, actually here we should be intelligent to understand something. not only living in the present moment. You know, a lot of current society people advise to forget your past and future. Live in the present moment. Be mindful in the present moment. Actually, Buddhism is different. Buddhism explains not only mindfulness, but wisdom too. You know, very young children, they also don't think past or future. There are some people in the lunatic asylums, mental hospitals. They also don't think past or future. There are some animals. They also don't think past or future. They completely live in the present moment. Living in the present moment is not only the one solution. And the solution is reflecting on impermanence. We use mindfulness for the success of reflecting on impermanence. Mindfulness is not the final solution. According to Buddhism, we try to keep our mind in mindfulness for the success of wisdom. Without mindfulness, it is unable to reflect on impermanence. That is why, first of all, we are aware of our mind and body. It is like when the water is very complex, we can see on the bottom of the water. If water is very calm and quiet, then we can see what is on the bottom. Our mind is like that. That is why we first practice mindfulness, live in the present moment. It doesn't mean that we forget our past or future. As much as we practice mindfulness, our memory grows up. Our memory increases. Memory about past or future is not the problem. The problem is that when we think past or future, if our mind goes to past or future and live in that incident, that's the problem. Because of our ignorance, as soon as we think past or future, our mind goes to past or future with ignorance and it lives in that experience. That's the problem. For example, when Buddha was living, actually he could remember his all past experience. It is not the fault. It is the one of the sign of success of practice in mindfulness. Then problem is that ignorance. When actually we can remember our mom who has passed away. But when we think our mom, we know very well, now I think about my mother's past experience, not just now. Then we can cry. We can remember. We can cry because if we cry with our emotions, not about the real thing. Then little by little, with virtue, concentration and wisdom, then first we have good discipline in our speech and behavior, and also we concentrate our mind with a particular wholesome objects. Especially very important practice in breathing meditation. It is very main meditation technique for concentration in the present moment. And also, according to our characters, we can use many techniques in Buddhist meditation techniques. And however, little by little, we should develop our ability of keeping our mind in the present moment in a particular wholesome object, such as loving kindness. Day by day, we should increase the duration of our concentration. That is our success. Not only sit in meditation. When we do something, if we can keep our mindfulness here, while we are doing something, writing something, if our mind is here, attention is here, then we can do everything with mindfulness. And also when we walk, when we work, cook, sleep, anything that we do, if we are mindful, it means we are meditating. Increase in our awareness is the meditation. Then, however, not only living in the present moment, but with concentrated mind, we should have an ability to reflect on impermanence, arising and ceasing about the five aggregates. Every moment, whatever we experience through our six senses, it means that five aggregates arise, not only arising, but immediately when reasons separate, when conditions separate, immediately it ceases, and again next experience arises. Then at that moment we have overcome suffering. It doesn't mean that we go away from our duties. Actually, while we are reflecting on this higher understanding, we can do all things without complaining. Now we always complain. That person is not good. I should do this again and again. I complain to others. That is our nature of the life. But in one side we practice loving kindness. When other people have misbehavior, mistakes, we always ready to forgive them, because we think them like our children. Our mind is always friendly with them. We have compassion. We are compassionate. We have sympathetic joy. We have no big problems with other people who are around us. Then mostly we struggle with anger. If we can overcome anger, actually we can develop a lot of qualities in our life. Especially it is very easy to increase our concentration when we overcome anger. And also this knowledge also very important. Day by day we should go forward with the understanding of the impermanence. That is the highest thing. As much as this understanding, we are hurried to get the result. We know very well our happiness is here. Although we have children, although we have a lot of educational qualifications, although we are very rich, we don't think them. All of them end with suffering. The only thing that doesn't end suffering is this understanding. Then always we give in the higher level with this understanding. We keep our mind in the higher level with these spiritual qualities. Other all things are in down level. Our children, our relatives, our properties, jobs, all are in the down level. It doesn't mean that we don't take care of them. Actually, we do our duties and responsibilities for them than we did before. But the things which were down level, we put them in the higher level. Then, if we are in this understanding, it means the five spiritual faculties in the higher level. Saddha, confidence in the triple gem, Virya, energy, Sati, mindfulness, Samadhi, concentration, and wisdom. Those are five things in the higher level. Five spiritual faculties, spiritual faculties are here. Other all things are here. Our real happiness is here. We are happy with our success of our children. We are happy when our mom is okay. But we know very well this happiness is impermanent. It can be changed anytime. But this spiritual development is not changed. Day by day it grows up until enlightenment. It is like a flower which is blooming. Have you any questions?
I was going to ask, like, if you have been to those Vipassana centers, they have a 10-day retreat. So they do meditation like thinking on impermanence. Do you know what is it like if they're just like doing it? Because I don't know.
Actually, I experienced that most of places we can see the practice in Vipassana, they always explain the changing. The changing of our breathing, changing of the outside material things. Actually changing, reflecting on changing of outside, not the real understanding of Vipassana. Real understanding of Vipassana depends on inside. We can say this table can be changed. We can reflect on this building one day can be destroyed. It is not difficult to understand. The thing is that this building is made in our mind
Now.
just now. According to my senses, according to the karmic law of my senses, this building is like this. When my senses change, when my karmic force change, then these senses are changed. Then this is different. This building is made by my mind and ignorance. My mind, ignorance, desire, food, there are several reasons, 5 reasons, which I can see something. As soon as we go to the mirror, we know very well the figure of the reflection of fear. Our whole experience was like that. If I am happy when I look at this flower, it means the projection is here. According to my vision, I feel happy.
Makes sense.
Although I reflect on the changing of the flower, I can't overcome attachment. For example, if there was somebody who died, before that person died, we had attachment with that person. Still, I have that attachment. But now, that physical body is burned. Still, I have that attachment, lustful desire. How I reflect on that physical body just now? If I want to overcome lustful desire, I should reflect on how that body arises in my mind. Even though that body is here or burned out, it doesn't matter. I can reflect on that person whether he died or not. If I reflect on that situation in my mind. Buddhism also explains something to reflect on outside. As in purity, there are some meditation techniques in Kayanupassana, they are contemplating on forms. But it is only the primary level. But when we go to the Vipassana, it means we look at inside, not outside. As soon as I hear something, I know very well these organs have arrived. That is why I feel sounds. I experience the sound. For example, when somebody rings your doorbell, in our childhood, we ran to the bell. When we are older, we don't run to the bell. Where we are going to? We go to the door. When we hear the bell is ringing, we go to the door. Like that. When I look at this paper, if I am unhappy, I don't go to outside. I go to inside. Because of my attitude of inside, I am unhappy about this paper. The reason is not the paper. The reason is inside, which is my misconception. Vipassana is inside. Like we are going to the mirror. Then inside means seen reflecting on 5 entities or 6 senses also. There are more than 1,000 ways that we can reflect on this impermanence, not only particular way. Dahasak naing atipandita. When we become a Sotapanna, we say that there are 1,000 ways that we can reflect on impermanence, not only particular way. Ayatana, 6 senses, 5 aggregates, 6 external objects, 6 consciousness. There are many ways. Day by day we discuss various ways. Day by day we go to the deeper level with this understanding. Okay, for this understanding, for the permanent of this understanding, the main thing that we should do daily, concentration meditation. And protect your words, save your words. Before you say something, before you behave something, reflect on it again and again, whether it is good or bad. Pachavekitva kayana kammang katabbam. When you do something physically, reflect on it again and again, whether it is correct. Pachavekitva vāsaya kammang katabbam. When you speak something, reflect on it again, whether it is correct. Pachavekitva manasaya kammang katabbam. When you think something, reflect on it again and again, whether it is correct. When we associate something, somebody, some person, if it is very complex or it is a cause to be complex, then we try to go away little by little. It doesn't mean that we should keep him away. When we meet him face to face, we can talk, we can laugh with him. But we always try to protect our mind. Our mind is the very important thing. Please take care of your mind. Then you take care of your parents, your children, other things, than your even physical body. Mind is the most important thing, whether we are happy or not. Keeping our mind with fear and harm is the main reason why we are happy, that we are happy.
Yeah, one of the suttas that we studied in a different class is that it was about like, if there's something that disturbs your mind, you avoid it.
Yes, Vitakka Santana Sutta, there are 5 techniques.
Yes, that's the one.
5 techniques. And reflecting on opposite side,
right,
and go away from the thing.
Yeah.
There are 5 techniques.
That's the one.
Yes. It doesn't mean that we should get angry with other people.
Right.
We should not make enemies. If we have enemies, we should overcome those enemies, at least giving something to them, offer something to them. Day by day, we should erase the name of our enemies list. If they are angry with us, we can do anything, but we should protect our mind in our side. We should keep a guard in our side for our peace of mind. Okay, thank you for your good attention and participation. Today we discuss how to overcome stress and stress management. Especially Buddhism has explained loving kindness meditation for stress management and mindfulness, and finally concentration and reflecting on impermanence for the final solution. But still, psychiatrists have recommended only loving kindness and mindfulness. But Buddhism has gone far away. Not only mindfulness, but concentration and wisdom too, according to Buddhism. But psychiatrics stop in this level, loving kindness and mindfulness. We go forward. Finally, for the final solution, we think that every moment this experience arises and ceases. If we think something at that moment, that is our entire life. When we think this pen at that moment, our entire life is here. When we think our car or motorcycle, then our entire life is there. When you think your house or home, at that moment your life is there. It means as soon as you remember your house with ignorance, at that moment if you die, you are there with another body, according to your mental condition. As soon as we think that incident, if we are clever to reflect on, now I reflect on my mind with five aggregates, then we are overcome the circle of the samsara. When you think that you took care of your mom, then you can be happy. I took care of my mom for a long time. Then you are happy, your mind is with compassion and loving kindness. However, you are in the circle still. But while you are thinking about your service for your mom, if you are indifferent to understand, now I reflect on my mind with five aggregates, you can gain merit as well as the spiritual energy. At that moment, you have overcome the sun circle while you are thinking your mom. When you think your mom, your mind doesn't go to the outside, your mom's body. Your mind is inside, reflecting on your mental condition.
And that's very clear.
Yes, little by little, we go to the deeper level. Actually, Buddhism has explained in the first level the heavenly path. When you are taking care of your mom, that is a great merit. You can be reborn in a higher level with a lot of facilities because of your great service, but still you are in the samsaric journey, in the circle. But if you are clever, with this understanding, with wisdom, you can get longevity, good complexion, health because of your service of your mom. And also you generate your energy to become the outside of samsaric journey. That is the special thing. We can receive our same mom next birth. It is not difficult. If you love your mom, you will meet your mom next birth again. But we don't meet not only our beloved mom. We have to accept our mom with her diseases. That is the problem. You can meet your same children in next birth. If you love your children, you can receive your beloved children next birth, beloved your husband next birth. According to your good karma, you can receive the same persons if you like, if you are interested in them. But we don't receive not only them. Yes, everything we have to accept. Their diseases, their illnesses, their problems, their aging, their death, their suffering, all things put together. Not only their facilities, not only their love. That's the problem. That is why we have to overcome this journey. We have to overcome this circle. Okay. Thank you so much for your good attention. Every day, sometimes you may think that we discuss the same thing, but little by little, we go to the deeper level for the final solution. You are so lucky because as the regular participants, you can acquire a lot of knowledge. That's a great opportunity. It shows your previous karmic results. You can be happy. Although you are few people, it doesn't matter. That it shows your good karmas that you prepared in your last birth. Okay, now we are going to transfer these merits to our beloved departed relatives. By the power of all these merits, may our departed relatives also receive these merits, and may they enhance their spiritual energy. May they also attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's transfer these merits to our beloved departed relatives and friends. Idamme ñātīnam hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idamme ñātīnam hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idamme ñātīnam hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. By the power of all these merits, may guardian deities and angels also receive these merits, and may they enhance their spiritual energy. May they enhance their divine energy, and may they also keep their eye on you too. May they attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's transfer these merits, guardian deities and angels too. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu sāsanam. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu desanam. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu tvaṃ sadā. By the power of all these merits, may all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no problems come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May your all righteous wishes meet with success. May all of us attain final bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkham panthā ca nindukkhaṃ Bhayam panthā ca nirvayam. Sokam panthā ca nissokam. Anto sambe pipānino. May the triple gem bless you.